Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show podcast presented by PointsBet. Use that promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. It is Labor Day weekend. Luke Stuckmeyer, Ryan Herrera, and Cody Del Mendo ringing in September with an 8-0 Cardinals win over the Cubs. August was their first 500 month since May of 21, and September is off to a horrible start. 8-0 Cardinals. Boy, I don't really know where to start or finish on this. I know I already see a lot of Sean Newcomb hate in the chat, and not surprising. I think we will get to that. Well, I think we should probably start with who you got. We should probably start with who you got. Get it over with. Give the people what they want. And, of course, I have won Who You Got again.
In what world did you win Who You Got?
Okay, tell me how I didn't win.
Well, Madrigal and Seiya both went 2 for 4. He had
Correct.
Madrigal, I had Seiya, and then Madrigal got thrown out at home.
Well, every stat was the same. 2 for 4, total bases, strikeout. The difference is Seiya left 4 runners on base. Madrigal left 2 on base. That's half as bad there. And that is Who You Got? Point Maverick.
Nope.
Because the whole story of the game was left on base runners. Like they had opportunities to win this game. I mean, you go back to the first inning, they had runners on base. I mean, they had opportunities to score runs against the Cardinals. They just didn't do it.
The thing is, this is the first time Luke has ever brought up left on base to try to win Who You Got.
That's the only time I've never cared about it before.
He's never cared about it before.
We know that Cody's pick didn't do well, and our
guy had a walk.
Our guy literally had the same game, except for one guy left 4 on base and the other left 2. I don't know how else to decide it.
Well, I mean, your guy got
unless
thrown
we're
out
going by caller batter, then you win. If we're going by caller batter, then you do win.
One, your guy got thrown out at home trying to take home on Nolan Arenado. He got thrown out.
Actually,
and then
I heard.
Didn't he have an infield hit? Wasn't the knock against him when I should have won the other day because he had an infield hit?
Yeah. All I know is I didn't actually see the play at the plate. I just heard Pat Hughes, the future Hall of Famer, talking about it on the radio, and he was like, a spectacular play by Arenado to get him at the plate. Like, it couldn't have been a better throw. So they weren't poo-pooing the ability to try and score on the play. They were saying it was a great play. First of all, to throw around the hit. It's not easy to throw around the guy going from third when you are the third baseman. So I'll take a point.
Cool. Nope. I've gotten cheated out of points all week because you guys want to play around with different stats to try to make your case.
So you're saying that 4 left on base
because everyone left people on base.
Is better than a guy being thrown out on a great play at the plate in the first inning.
Everyone left people on base, man. Only one guy got thrown out at home.
Some left twice as many on.
My guy didn't get thrown out at home. You know what that goes into? That goes into the thrown out on the bases stat, and whatever it is, Baseball Reference or Fangraphs. That's a tally on some Madrigals.
However, Ryan, if that counted as 1 point, that would still be 1 less. It would be 4-3 if you added that as another left on base.
Nope. We're not doing left on base here because everyone left players.
All right. Well,
guys on base.
I'm willing to leave it. I'm willing to leave it totally up to Cody. Cody and Joey on who thinks there was.
I'll vote because the new rule of no point together here in the month of September that Ryan just personally created himself, and the only reason I'm allowing it is because he's at the bottom in terms of me and Luke. I'm willing to let Ryan have the point here.
Yeah, there you go.
And you see what's happening here.
I don't see what's happening.
Cody knows that I'm closer to him. And so Cody's like, I said Joey was a factor in this. I didn't say it was all up to Cody.
I gave my 2 cents.
This is Cody watching the Illini game for most of the night and then coming into the chat and saying, oh, Stucky's only like 3 points behind me. This would make it 2 points. You know what? I think Ryan won because he knows you can't catch him.
No, I can catch him. Trust me. There's a lot of season left in this year. A lot of games left. A lot of time.
Yeah.
Lucas says that's some serious politicking, Cody.
That's dirty. That's right there.
Brendan says I deserve the point. Thank you, Brendan. Always my biggest fan.
What's he know? He's in California. The game's not even over yet there.
Yeah, it's only 8:36 there. So point for Ryan, unless Joey steps in and says
unless
something
Joey's
else.
willing to step in, but I think Joey may be checking out his bets right now. I don't know.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't have my eyes glued to the TV tonight. I'm not the talent. It's not my job.
More than fair.
But Joey, did you hear our two arguments?
You should hear what I've been doing tonight, Joey.
I'm making Cody and Sean's graphics for CFB Pick'em tomorrow. So I'm tuning in and out, but 8-0. I don't really care who takes the win. If you know what, I pretend I didn't say that. I'm gonna go back and watch the tape. It's a really serious matter. So
that's right.
I want to make sure watch the whole
game.
Go
over the box scores and focus on who left how many on base and get back to us, Joey. Thank you. Good night.
Well, see, on the box score, Joey can't see that who got thrown out at home
because it's not a factor.
Oh, it's a pretty big factor.
That's why it's not in the box score. Not important.
It's pretty important.
Adrian Thompson.
Thank you to everyone that supported me. Finally break the streak of getting cheated out of a point on who you got. It's over.
Joey's making a Nico graphic. Adrian Sampson, did he really throw 40 pitches in the first inning?
Yeah, it was a rough first for Sampson.
Holy cow.
He got he got Nuke Bar out and then walked back to back. Got a ground out. I was like, maybe he could get out of it. And then Tyler O'Neill just kind of ripped one out to left field that knocked into. I mean, it was a lot of like full counts or 2-1 counts, 3-1, whatever it was. It took him quite a while to get out of there. But I will say he settled in a little bit after the beginning of the second. Kept him scoreless. Was it bases
loaded? 2-0 for a while.
Yeah.
What was in the second inning? It was two guys on. Oh, it was second and third.
Second and third, I think is right. I don't think they loaded them, but maybe they did.
No, it's first and third. First and third to start the second. Got the out, got a double play after. I mean, I guess the best takeaway is that he settled in, was able to get them innings, eat up some innings, because for a second there, like you mentioned, Luke, a lot of pitches in the first inning, and it looked like it was going to be a long night for the bullpen, but he ended up making it through 5, I guess. 5 innings, 2 runs. I mean, just it wasn't like a great start by him, I don't think.
No,
but it was enough to kind of keep them in it for as long as he was in there, which is kind of what he's done all year.
He's come back to the mean the last couple of starts, because for a while he was pitching like the world, like he was on fire, like the world was on fire. If he was gonna keep doing that, and it's like nothing against him. It's like we know what he is though. Like he is a nice depth piece that can spot start for you if you have an injury or just. Like he is essentially the same version of Mark Leiter Jr., except probably better. He's the same version of like a Michael Rucker. He's the same version of, I'm running out of names because we have.
They just keep using him as a starter, whereas those guys have tried to find roles.
True.
Well, like in the
Leiter was a starter beginning of the year. Who knows if it would have gone different if they used Sampson at the beginning of the year instead. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying that like. I haven't really budged on my take on Sampson all season. I think that he is just a really nice player that you're not going to have to pay, and he can once in a while give you a really good outing. And maybe the thing is like it's kind of like what Luke said. Like so many guys left on base, maybe his outings goes different if the Cubs are able to answer back quickly. You know what I mean? Like that. The offense dictates so much of like how good a starting pitcher can be. Like Adrian Sampson is never going to be a guy who's going to go out there and shove 6-7 innings or even 5 innings down your throat and allow no runs. Like that's just not going to happen. But can he give you somewhat of what quality is considered in the year of our Lord 2022? Yeah, well, he's done that a lot this year. He even did that in the second half of last year. 5 innings, 3 earned or less. Yeah, he's done that a lot this year. That I mean, you really can't complain about that from a guy like him. You like if we're going to talk about a guy like if you want to flip it and be like, yeah, well, that's what Marcus Stroman's been doing all season, then yeah, you want to criticize, you want to get pissed off. Yeah, we're paying him $20+ million a year and he's going 5 innings and giving up 3, earning a lot of starts. Yeah, I understand the criticism there, but we're talking about a guy that the Cubs are barely paying and he's a depth piece at best.
Well, David Snyder is saying that in the chat. He's like, he only gave up 2 runs in 5 innings. That's pretty much a quality start by him again. And I guess you could look at it that way. It was a rough start when it's 40 pitches in the first inning and you've allowed some runs to them. Like, I have 2 questions about him. One, is he going to be important enough that he's a guy you do have to protect while you're trying to figure out some of these other guys? Ryan, maybe that's something you can answer. 2, my question would be Javier Assad, Adrian Sampson. If you had to have one of them, who would you rather have next season?
I'll let Ryan go first.
Well, I'll talk about the 40-man one. I mean, it's just there's so many guys that are Rule 5 eligible this year that really the Cubs have to take a look. I mean, he had DFA'd twice this year, right? Like once by the Cubs and then the Mariners, I want to say, was the other team that I'll look into that one. But I mean, he's 30. He'll be 31 before next. I think he'll be 31 in October. I mean, as far as is he someone that needs to be protected? I don't know. I think with the amount of prospects that need to be protected or that need to at least get a look, especially pitching prospects, like there's a bunch of guys in the minors that they're looking at and may need it. I mean, I'm not saying Sampson can't, like you said, Cody, like he could be a guy that comes in and eats some innings in a spot start. I don't think he's just in the rotation of a competitive World Series team, but if he can come in and get a spot start, be a multi-inning guy out of the bullpen, that's one thing. But it's just like there's so many prospects that if you look at him and you're like, is there another guy in the system that can replace Sampson if he does get if you DFA him and another team picks him up? Like it probably is. So
that's what I'm saying. That's kind of what I was hinting at. I'm not saying he hasn't done a really nice job this season. I think he's been a good piece for the Cubs this season. Mm-hmm. And in a perfect world, you would store him down in Iowa and you would have him anytime somebody gets hurt or you needed to call somebody up for a little bit. But when you have a roster crunch like they do with a lot of younger players, he could be the odd man out just because of that situation. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. But I'm also not even like afraid if other teams go after him.
Right.
It wouldn't surprise me if he somehow ended back up on the Cubs, right? Like, that is not to even like slander the guy one bit.
No,
not one bit to slander the guy. If I had to choose between him or Javier Assad, yeah, I would choose Javier Assad. He's younger. He's got more electric stuff. And Sampson's a little bit more proven, but considering where the Cubs are at, you would rather want the younger guy. That's just what it is. So this is what it is. I just think that we all we were talking about Adrian Sampson right now and like his future and all this. And it's like, we haven't even seen Hayden Wesneski and we haven't even, we haven't seen Killian come back up and to see what he could do. Like there's really no spot for Adrian Sampson in the rotation. And so at best, he is a long relief option. But with the way that they're starting to show how they want to bring their young pitchers up like they did with Steele and Thompson, like they're like theoretically maybe Wesneski and Killian are going to be started in the bullpen next year or whenever. Like when the more you think about it, it's like, where is a spot for this guy? And like, again, the rest of this year, yeah, he's going to be here and he's going to eat innings for the Cubs. And like, if he, makes it on the team next year somehow, some way, fine. And can he give you a spot start? Yes, absolutely. Can he eat you some innings out of the bullpen? Absolutely. But we're also, the Cubs have to give these guys who have a much higher upside than him. And age has to do with it, but also like the stuff as well. I mean, it's not like this guy's pumping 97 plus up there. He's 93, 92, 93. That's fine. Like he's been very solid, and it's not to slander him at all. I think he's a very, very solid depth piece. And I think a really good team, if they're scouting all teams across the league, if like they see that he finds a way out on the waiver wire or whatever you want to call it, like I wouldn't be surprised if a team went after him. But
yeah,
I also wouldn't be surprised if he ended up back on the Cubs too.
So, yeah, I mean he's auditioning for every team in Major League Baseball right now. He's not just throwing to impress the Cubs. He's trying to throw. Somebody in the chat just said, he might end up with a small market team and get another 2-3 solid years in the majors, and that'd be great for him. Again, I would love to see him be a piece in Iowa, ready for the Cubs to have. I just don't know if it's ultimately business-wise going to work out that way for him. But you can't expect too much more than what you got out of him this season. He's been their Alec Mills of this season, right? Like he hasn't thrown a no-hitter, but he's similar. Like you don't feel terrible when he goes out there, and you don't feel like you're absolutely going to win the game because he's out there. He's
like you nailed it perfectly there, Luke.
Right?
He literally has been like the Alec Mills.
Right. I mean, he's
guy this year.
He's vanilla ice cream without the sprinkles and the hot fudge sauce. Is it good? Yes. Could you still have something better that you might have to go for? Yes. So that's and again, I'm not trying to put him down at all. I think he's a nice piece for some team. Maybe it's the Cubs moving forward, but I think business decisions will decide that more than anything he will do the rest of the way this season.
Yeah, like he's come up and done what he's needed to do, like what's been asked of him. I mean, he hasn't gone above and beyond it. I think, if he's getting you 5 innings every night, like that's a good thing. As he's eating some innings, again, he's a guy that they kind of brought up out of necessity with injuries to the rotation. It has filled in and for the most part, hasn't gotten really blown up on more than a couple times. Also hasn't like shoved, like Cody said, he hasn't gone like 7 scoreless innings, at least that I remember. At least, and definitely not consistently. Like he's right in the middle of that. And if he's giving you 5 innings, giving up, allowing 2 runs to the Cardinals, keeping you in games for the most part, like that's all that's kind of been asked of him, and that's what he's done for the most part. Right. But like you said, it's comes down to business decisions. It comes down to what the front office looks at in some of these minor league prospects, and once they figure out whether they need to be protected or not. And Sampson may just end up being a victim of another roster crunch, right? Another 40-man crunch that he's just the guy that ends up being the odd man out. It could be that just could be the future, and that's kind of the reality of the situation. As admirable, I guess, as it's been to see him come up in a weird spot and just kind of consistently eat innings, take some relief off this rotation as it went through this season long injury bug. It's been getting by the season long injury bug. It just might be he's the one that becomes the odd man out of a rotation or of a 40-man spot of active, whatever it is. Like it just may be he gets the call that it's not his time.
Again, like the only thing that really, like, you want me to get upset with anything related to Adrian Sampson is that the Cubs didn't give him a chance before Mark Leiter Jr. That's really, I think Adrian Sampson is been light years better than Mark Leiter Jr. this year, and it would have been interesting to see if he could have came up and actually pitched in meaningful games and seen if he had do what he's been doing for most of the season for the Cubs, but it didn't happen, and here we are. So I don't know.
I'm a little bummed out as I was watching tonight. I mean, the score means nothing right now. You can get down about it because they're losing to the Cardinals 8-0. But again, it means nothing. But I am a little bummed that Willson Contreras' injury is still going on, because if this is the last month of Willson Contreras in a Cubs uniform, I want him to go out with a bang. I want him to have like all those great moments that he was having before the trade deadline that we thought was going to be the end of his Cubs career. I want to see him go out that way. I don't want to see him going out with an injury or not being 100% down the stretch. Are you getting concerned about whatever is going on with Willson Contreras, that we might not get that send-off that he probably deserves?
Well, it seems like the ankle thing happened in the Field of Dreams game, right?
Yeah.
And then they left him in, and I think that's loomed large. That's why we're in this situation now with him. And I know it doesn't matter because the game's wins and losses don't matter. But maybe if you take him out, maybe if you don't play him, I'm actually surprised that with the way that they managed this situation, because they've been so they've been taking care of all these different pitchers, whether it's Thompson and Steele, whether it's back tightness or not for Keegan Thompson. I've just assumed he's on the IL because they just wanted to skip a few starts. Maybe I'm way off on that, but that's just my own theory. They've been very, very adamant about not extending Killian and giving him another shot up here. A bunch of other arms, in my opinion, but Willson Contreras, the guy's been with the organization for 14 years, hurts his ankle in the Field of Dreams, and I get maybe letting him go back out there for the rest of that game since it was that game, but then it's not like they put him on the IL or anything. The way they've handled it, honestly, if this team was good, people would be criticizing the way the Cubs are managing this, and the only reason they're not right now is because they're not good and no one's really paying attention. And maybe it's on Willson. Maybe Willson is convincing them that he's okay because he just wants to play through every injury because he cares so much and he's just literally built different. But you got as an organization, they have to step in and make the right call there. That's what they're supposed to do. And I guess in a way I'm a little ticked by it just because in the end, it hurts his value going into free agency for him. And maybe that's why the Cubs are doing it. And I hope not, because that's a really shitty way to bring someone's value down. But
I don't think that's it. I mean, like you said, the Field of Dreams,
speculating, and I'm saying a bunch of theories. I'm not saying anything that I know, obviously. I'm just I'm talking out loud.
Yeah.
Listen.
No, I think I do. I think what you said about him, kind of them letting him kind of dictate the playing time and when he feels good enough to play is kind of a thing. I think he missed the Cardinals series at Wrigley. He missed that whole doubleheader. I think he missed the next game. He might have missed the game after that. I don't remember off the top of my head, but that's when he was feeling it, they kept him out, making sure he's not hurt. But then when he's feels good enough to play, I mean, you see it, he's not staying on the ankle the whole time. He is when he's playing, he kind of going down to one knee and doing that kind of thing. I mean, it's just, I think he's kind of partially dictating when he feels good enough to play and they're listening to him and letting him go out there because like you said, because he does care enough about this team to want to play through those kind of injuries. But then when he's not feeling good and I think the communication is good there, or when he's not feeling good, Rossi doesn't play him. He puts PJ or he puts Jan back there. I don't think it's anything let's hurt his value to let's keep playing him so that he gets hurt and hurt his value. I don't believe in that at all. I do think it's just kind of him saying hey, my ankle hurts, but I'm good enough to play. Let me play. I want to play. That's my gut instinct right there.
I'm going to try and fill some time here because Cody was talking about people not paying attention a little bit earlier. And I looked up and saw the Illini Indiana game, which is going on live as we're doing the podcast, 20-16, 44 seconds left. Indiana second and goal. And I can see Cody down in that box.
Yeah.
Must have it off to the side because there's a lot of head shaking.
I'm literally following it on the ESPN app. This is dumb.
We need to
down to the one.
We need to clip Cody's faces in that last minute and a half that I was talking.
All right, we got an incomplete pass.
That's what he was doing.
Down to the one, 30 seconds to go.
Oh my God.
Third and goal.
God.
What else we want to talk about?
Yeah. I was going to point out that all I did was mention vanilla ice cream, and you guys think I start to talk about ice cream on this podcast. That is not what happens. No. All I mentioned was vanilla ice cream, and bingo, Lucas says, when are we going to get the Breyers Reese's ice cream my wife refuses to buy because it's too damn expensive? Then Nick joins in saying, Lucas, tonight is a Ben & Jerry's night. Lucas then points out, I had Culver's halfway through the game. And David has to chime in with, just buy a cheaper brand of ice cream. They all taste the same to me. I bought today Turkey Hill Pistachio Almond. I'm going to point out that I will never buy pistachio almond in my life. That sounds like a terrible ice cream. Now, David, I appreciate that you're chiming in on the ice cream. And Turkey Hill is what I brought to our ice cream social because it was on sale.
3 tubs in the freezer.
And it wasn't bad, but I will say this. It ain't Ben & Jerry's. When you get Turkey Hill, there's a reason it was on sale. You compare that to Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream, there is a difference. A huge difference.
Haagen-Dazs also very good.
Haagen-Dazs? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So anyways, looks like Cody's Illini may lose this game here. So Cody, just to so it doesn't hurt as bad as you watch the replay. Why don't you hit us with the
everyone from the state of Indiana can go jump into Lake Michigan in the month of December, please. Okay.
Just ignore it and do the points bet read, and it's all going to be okay. And then I'll
don't forget about it.
You've got 23 seconds left to tie this game up, Cody. So do the points bet, get it over with, and you got 23 seconds for magic.
All right. Spin zone. I am 3-1 gambling on sports tonight. I did.
Oh, you can't gamble on Illinois, could you?
Legally. I did not, Ryan. I can't bet on Illinois in the state of Illinois unless I go to a sports book. That's not on PointsBet, though. PointsBet Sportsbook is counting down the days until football season with a new offer every day until the season kicks off. From now until September 8th, PointsBet Power Hour will unlock a new daily offer from 12 to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. You got a $2 free bet today if you tuned into that, which I made a parlay in which I lost. But it's free $2. You're not losing anything. It's kind of a really cool thing. Sign up for PointsBet now using code CHGO to also get risk-free bets up to $2,000. Don't miss out on your chance to get daily access to free bets, boosted odds, and so much more now through September 8th. But that's not it. You can make a $51 or more first-time deposit. You'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. Download the PointsBet app today and use code CHGO to take advantage of this limited-time offer. Don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone who has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services. And once again, the state of Indiana can straight up go fuck yourself. Thank you.
I got to tell you guys about OWYN, which stands for Only What You Need. OWYN is a 100% plant-based protein shake that gives you nutrition that works as hard as you do. All their products are free of artificial ingredients, allergen-friendly, no gluten, no dairy, easily digestible. And I first heard about OWYN when I found out that Bears quarterback Justin Fields follows a plant-based diet. So he's in on OWYN. OWYN and CHGO have partnered up to give you an awesome offer. You can get 20% off your first purchase at liveowyn.com. That's LIVEOWYN.com with the code CHGO20. Join me, Justin Fields. Try OWYN. That is only what you need.
I'm going to need some OWYN after this.
I was going to say, and I saw.
I might need some freaking athletic greens too.
Jack Brown says he had a little Ben & Jerry's today. I didn't have any ice cream. I had a large bowl of lesser evil Himalayan salt popcorn. Have you had that before? It's one of these lower calorie popcorns. It's fairly healthy. It's like organic popcorn. You'll find it in the store. I'm telling you to try it out. I'm a popcorn connoisseur. It's legit. Is it Garrett's? No, but you're getting it in a bag at the grocery store, and it's pretty good. I think it uses coconut oil instead of like the vegetable oil. Cody, don't look at your TV.
Yeah.
Don't look at your television.
I can't see. My phone is telling me that DeVito had an incomplete pass to Isaiah Williams. It's second down and 10.
Lucas isn't even watching the game. He says, I can see the results of the plays in the soul currently leaving Cody's eyes.
You just can't have nice things. Basketball school.
There you go.
Also spin zone. My alma mater, the Harvard of the Midwest, Eastern Illinois University, 35.5-point underdogs last night against NIU, those frauds in DeKalb. Eastern Illinois lost by a touchdown. Didn't win. Covered covered, baby. Good teams win. Great
covered.
teams cover.
They covered. He's called the other team a fraud because they didn't cover.
That's true. That's big. I did see that. Also, there had to be people. Sean did his free bet on whatever Louisiana Tech yesterday. Put a free bet on him. Told everyone in whatever chat he was in, whatever show, to bet with him. And I told them all, I hope you all lose the bet. Mizzou covered. Mizzou hit by 28. It was huge.
I straight up told you that I thought Mizzou was going to cover.
I'm literally a Mizzou fan. He didn't have to tell me that. I was riding the cover.
I was just. I remember sitting right next to you, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not betting it, but I like Mizzou to cover tonight." I remember telling you that.
I liked it too, and
I didn't bet it because I didn't care. But
it's the road to the Natty. Did you guys see that graphic that the 12 teams that would be in the hunt if the season ended today? Mizzou was there, baby. Let's go.
We're gonna do that the next 3 years until 2026.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys see Brendan Davis on base 5 times? And I call him up, please. I said things I want to see in September. Brendan Davis on base 5 times, 2 for 4. No, 2 for 2. I'm sorry. 2 walks and a hit by pitch. No home runs or anything, but the guy was on 5 times. That's enough for me. Call him up. Bring him up. No, Ryan says it's still not happening this season.
I'm not saying no, like it shouldn't happen. I don't know. Like,
you don't think so?
Right now, I mean, he's just starting to get into games. Like it's, and then again, we talked about with the Arizona Fall League stuff. Like I
know
it's gonna be weird. Or not weird. It'll be like surprising if he gets called up anytime soon. Like if he were to get called up at the last week of the season, I probably see a more realistic scenario that happens. Anytime soon, anytime in the next few weeks, I can't see it. I don't want to break your heart, Luke, but I just,
I don't think it's happening. I feel like if I keep saying it, I will it into existence that it might happen at the end of the season. If I was gambling on it on points bet, I would not place that wager.
We need all the morale we can
on 2 seconds for Illinois to score a touchdown here. They're gonna have to pull some sort of
like the 40.
There it is.
Their own 40,
and it's over.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sports are dumb. Why do I invest all my time into teenagers or adults slinging pigskins or adults swinging wooden bats or teenagers dribbling basketballs? I just don't understand why I care. Basketball school.
Is Illinois really supposed to be that much better than Indiana at football this season?
No, they're both pretty even. There's a 3-point spread, so usually, in Vegas terms, if it's a 3-point spread, it's basically even. So, I'm not even mad I lost my bet. I'm mad that Illinois lost as a fan.
I just remembered the quarterback that led that game-winning drive, former Mizzou quarterback. He transferred to Indiana this year.
Of course he did.
Wow.
It's all connected.
Transfer portal to upgrade, huh? Oh, no, you're saying it was the other way?
Yeah.
Jackass Cody.
He was from the SEC to the Big Ten.
A worst beat. I would say this is worse just because I'm a fan. But that Purdue bad beat last night was awful.
In terms of money.
The state of Indiana owes me. They owe me. Because of tonight and then last night. The state of Indiana is dead to me outside of Valpo, and that's only because Luke went there.
Thank you.
Okay.
Crusaders, no longer. This will cheer you up, Cody. I was trying to figure out, we've got about 20 minutes to fill here in this podcast. And I was watching this game and I wrote this, one of the maybe 3-4 notes I wrote to myself for this game because it was that bad. 8-0 Cardinals over the Cubs. Starting September with a shutout loss to St. Louis. Not ever a good thing. But I watched Yadier Molina leg out a double. And I thought to myself, well, Cody's not going to like that. And when I say leg it out, I mean it looked like he was going to lose a leg on the way to second base. Like this man was so outrageously slow going into second base that I started, sometimes I used to doodle in school. I'd draw circles for a half hour and I'd miss what the professor was talking about. And then I'd draw squares and I'd try and draw a cube because I'm not a good artist.
Yeah.
I was thinking things that are slower than Yadier Molina. Here's some that I came up with.
Oh, I'm here for this list.
Let's hear it.
I'm absolutely
Molasses
here for
on a winter day.
Oh. Okay.
A wounded turtle. The game that was played tonight felt longer and slower than Yadier Molina.
Grass growing.
Glaciers are slower than Yadier Molina. Hairy caterpillars, manatees in the water, slugs, snails, starfish, all some of the slowest things on Earth. In fact, I even Googled that to find out what the slowest things on Earth are. And then finally I got to the end of the game, and I thought, just when I couldn't add to my top 10 list of things that are slower than Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols grounded to third base.
Did he even run?
And pretended like he thought it was a foul ball.
Oh.
And didn't even jog out of the batter's box. They threw to, I thought, this isn't even going to be close. They threw to first, and on a wide shot, you still couldn't even see Pujols because he was still at home plate going, what? That wasn't foul? When we all know he knew it was a fair ball, he was just like, if it wasn't a home run, there's no way in hell he was running down to first base. So Albert Pujols might be actually slower than Yadier Molina because he wasn't even willing to run to first base. Do you think he gets to 700?
I sure as hell hope not. If there's anything that I deserve, Luke, Ryan, if there's anything, absolutely anything that I deserve from having to endure this fraudulent retirement tour and just this entire Cubs season in general that has been worse than what it should be, is that Albert Pujols doesn't get 700. I need him to not get 700, or else my misery will be going times 10 into the postseason. Yeah, because that's all they'll talk about. Every postseason game that involved the Cardinals that I will be not closely watching, but just following and hoping that they lose every single one of them. And then they won't, because they're the Cardinal way, and like they're stupid best fans in baseball. Like they Ryan, you're laughing, Ryan, but like we are sitting here and we know
I love it.
Like they have this stupid devil magic that like was built in the Mississippi River. It came out of the water. It's like holy water. Like
it's
the BFIB, they get their buckets or whatever. And then they like pour it on all the players, and it like turns them into like God. And then when they trade them, they suck. That's why Harrison Bader hasn't even played a game for the Yankees left.
Not one.
You know what I mean? Like it disgusts me. It's absolutely disgusting. I hate their franchise. I hate their fan base, and hate is a strong word, but it's like full on hate. I can't take it. I'm here in this apartment. All the people that are upstairs on the roof, like, they're all White Sox or Cardinals fans. I'm the only Cubs fan. Like, if they were to hear me say all this, and if they're watching on their phones upstairs, hi guys. But like, I don't take anything back. When I go back upstairs on the roof, like I will sit on the couch or whatever, and I will tell them this is exactly how I feel about you. Sorry.
Here, right. This will make you feel better. Did you see what Jack and Lucas
I feel a little bit better now after going on that little rant.
Lucas wants, or Jack said he wants him to get to 699. That would be a perfect finish. Mm-hmm. And then Lucas joins in and says, I hope 700 gets robbed by an outfielder on the last at bat of the regular season.
That would be pretty funny.
That would be funny.
I would agree. I would say that would be pretty funny. Listen, as a baseball fan, I understand why people would want Albert Pujols to get to 700, but this is a Cubs podcast, guys. Yeah, I as a Cubs fan, I do not want to see Albert Pujols get to 700. And if that makes me a bad baseball fan, then like shun me. Fine. I don't cancel him. I straight up don't care. It's bad.
Honestly, I don't
we
care.
Have to endure this retirement tour. To have to endure that too is just not. I don't deserve that.
Hoping that Pujols doesn't get to 700 is like Cody's version of hoping Rodgers loses in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
But I root for Aaron Rodgers to lose in the playoffs every year.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm all aboard that train.
100%.
You bring up like the second most hated athlete of my lifetime, Ryan. Like, like today, Pat McAfee
one.
announced that Aaron Rodgers is going to be on his show for the 3rd straight year on every Tuesday. And like, I straight up like wanted to throw up because, like he's going to go on that show and there's going to be, they're going to talk about him every week because they're going to talk about all the shit that no one gives a shit about. And it's just going to be, unbearable. Like, how do I deserve to have to go through this Cubs season and then go into the Bears season where like they're not going to be good, and like the only thing that's going to give me any kind of like hope is if Justin Fields is like good, but they probably aren't good enough to win a lot of games at the same time, like, and then have to endure more Aaron Rodgers with his like shitty haircut and like him going on Pat McAfee's show and just spewing more bullshit and just
he's the worst. He's the worst.
Like it, I don't deserve this. And Lonzo Ball, he's going to be out and train. Like the world might as well be ending in this city. Like there's nothing good going on here unless you're a Chicago Sky fan.
But it's a holiday weekend, Cody. So look ahead to that.
Another beer.
And by the way, it's an opportunity to get great seats. You're talking about going to some of these games. At the Bears Packers, there's a perfect example. Game Time's the hottest new ticketing thing going on right now, and it's making it easier than ever to get the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, shows. You ever dream about sitting in a seat at the 50-yard line? Personally, I've never done that. Courtside, well, I have done that, but how about near home plate, right? Right behind home plate, like seat number 1 or 2. Floor seats so close that you can – at a concert, you can bottle up the sweat of your favorite band or artist because it's coming right into your face. All right. It's all possible with the Game Time app. It's the biggest last-minute price drops that can be found on seats that you thought you could never buy. You won't find a better deal this season on Cubs or Bears tickets, created by fans, for fans, guaranteed lowest price. Our Herb Lawrence swears by it. He used it for tickets to a Braves game tonight, and he is thrilled with it. And if you love CHGO, you'll love Game Time. The best way to support it is to buy your ticket through the link in the podcast and YouTube descriptions at the bottom. So join over 15 million people who have downloaded the Game Time app and score the best seats to all your favorite events. Meanwhile, Cody, one way to celebrate once you get to the game is you got to have the FOCO. Don't have the FOMO.
Get my match warmer.
Don't have the FOMO. Have the FOCO.
Mm-hmm.
I've added that to this ad read, by the way. That's my personal ad. Don't have FOMO. Have FOCO.
Well done,
Chicago, you already have the best coverage for your favorite teams, so get fitted out in the best sports gear around. FOCO's got you covered from Soldier Field to the fan cave in your basement, north side, south side. They've got hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, everything in between. Get decked out like DeMar with apparel from the leader in sports merchandise and collectibles, FOCO. If you're looking for that perfect gift for the football fan in your life, FOCO's got you covered with hoodies that fight that cold Lake Michigan breeze. Check out FOCO.com or click the link in our description below. For all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. So you're standing by that you that Molina and Pujols, they're worse to you than Aaron Rodgers? Not for me.
Molina, it goes Molina.
Biggest tool move
Rodgers number 1 by far.
Yeah, forever.
Well, I get it, but I go Molina, then Rodgers, and I don't even think Pujols is number 3 because Pujols hasn't hurt me for a decade. LeBron's probably right up there. Daniel Murphy, like I don't know, like, but like it's always going to be Yachty and Aaron Rodgers, those two guys, and Aaron Rodgers definitely goes over Yachty during football season. But like if I had to, you're asking me right now in September, and my team sucks and his team's good, and it's not because of him, and everyone's calling him a Hall of Famer, yeah, he's number 1. I hate him.
All right,
see, Luke,
I'll go with that.
Luke, we said it in the Slack earlier, like this, we could have just let Cody take the show and rant the whole time.
Right.
Like
all I had to do was mention Shohei Ohtani, and we could have filled 50 minutes. And Ryan and I could have just sat back with our arms folded.
We could have left. We could have left. Joey could have put Cody full screen, and
he could have cut in with the Illini highlights.
Yeah, it would have been Illini, but he would have like avenged.
What happened?
Toddy.
Was that what that was?
Joey getting rid of us? He took us all off screen.
I was like, am I here? Is my internet okay?
He would have found his way from Shohei Ohtani to a line.
That's 5 more minutes I got to fill. I can't do that. Here's what we're going to do for the last couple minutes. It is Labor Day weekend. I want the chat to get involved in this. And what's the worst job you've ever had?
Ooh.
Worst job you've ever had in your life? I have some.
I never really had a bad job. Like I really like where I've worked throughout my life. I will say, I told you about this, Luke, but I used to work summers plumbing with my dad and winters. Manual labor is not for me. Like I can do it. I make decent money. But I don't. I like sitting in my chair watching baseball and talking about it for a living. Like you asked me to go do plumbing right now, I could do it. I wouldn't be happy about it. But I've worked at places like I worked at Little Caesars, was like one of my first jobs.
Nice.
And
the crazy bread.
The crazy bread. We used to like when it was like during slow time of the day, we'd take pizzas and we just like make different, put different ingredients on it, figure out what's good and what's not, throw them in like the little oven thing and then put them in the bag, and whoever wanted to eat it got to eat it. And then you close up and there's still some pizzas that are fresh enough. Crazy bread's hanging out there. Just take them. I used to go to like high school parties. I would be working on like a Friday night, and then
it's not the worst job ever.
No, I loved Little Caesars. I loved working. I worked in a liquor store once. I worked for a catering company. Like I had great jobs.
I used to stock shelves at a grocery store. It was a Kroger, which is like owned by the same people who own Mariano's.
Right.
They're downstate. They're not in Chicagoland. Obviously, I grew up downstate. But I started as like a bagger, and this is like right after high school. I bagged people's groceries, and I brought carts in. And
that's the worst in the wintertime. The carts. My sister did that.
I promise you, it's worse in the summer when you're just sweating profusely. And I'm someone who sweats a lot, as people in our office know. And when I've scooted in and it's humid and hot outside, and I'm coming in dripping, and Big Dave is putting his big fan in front of my face. That was awful for multiple reasons, but mainly because one, I realized that I just don't really like working with the public because I got to be nice to people. And then two, it took me forever to like realize that I deserve better. So when I think back, it was a learning experience, but also, man, were those some wasted years. So, that was probably the worst job. If I had to pick a job in this industry, my very first job out of college, I was a general assignment reporter for this small newspaper just south of Kankakee in this little town called Watseka.
Yeah.
I took the first job that I got offered out of college because, like, I just needed to get a job, right? And like I didn't really put too much thought into it, and I hadn't lived at home for 3-4 years, and I didn't want to go back to living at home. Like I got used to like not living at home, and like I loved it. Like I knew I was going to be miserable if I went and lived home after I graduated. But I like in hindsight, I regret it because like I probably could have found a better job. So yeah,
and saved a little cash maybe too, right?
Yeah, probably would have saved a little cash just because, like,
Oh, we got a visitor.
Yeah, that's Dylan.
Hey, Dylan.
I forgot he is a Cubs fan, actually. So I'm not the only Cubs fan here, but
beautiful.
Yeah. I saw somebody on there saying, "Oh, here, Lucas says he worked at an ice cream freezer at a grocery store, minus 25." Yeah, I mean,
8 to 10 hours at a time.
I used to I worked at the White Hen on Arlington Heights Road. And same thing, you'd have to go fill the cooler on a hot day. That was great. Like I taught tennis in the mornings, and then if I had a sunburn, it felt good to go in the cooler for a while and get away from the people and stock the shelves. The worst thing was running the deli at a White Hen. Making those sandwiches, people coming in and they want no mayo, but they do want mustard, and they want just a little bit of lettuce, but not a lot. And it's like, if you want a good sandwich, why the hell are you coming to White Hen Pantry? Go to a Subway, a Jimmy John's, wherever you want to go. You're not going to get it at White Hen Pantry.
No.
Yeah.
I once put. You ever have Sen-Sens?
No.
if you see them in a convenience store, it's a little pouch of licorice that's about the size of a matchbox. But the little flake of licorice that's in there is so powerful that licorice will steam out your nostrils for like a week if you bite into it. And I had this guy that came and gave me this pain in the ass order for a sandwich all the time. And he would always order it after you'd cleaned the slicer, which was a big process at night to clean the slicer at the White Hen. This guy came in and wanted a sandwich at like 11:30 at night.
Oh,
you know what he got? He got some sen-sens on that sandwich.
There you go.
Never came back. Never came back. Never met him.
Joel said, not a bad job, but I thought mowing lawns was therapeutic.
Ooh.
I mean,
depends on how hot it is.
It's nice that he got paid for it because, I do it at my house a lot and I don't get paid for it. Like, it would be nice to get paid to mow a lawn. Like, I could do it if it was money bringing in. Yeah, or bringing
Lucky could be doing it now. You get the New Balances and really fit the dad look.
I have never owned a pair of New Balance. And let me tell you something.
You're a new dad. Like you're starting to evolve.
I jokingly made fun of New Balance like a couple years ago on Twitter, and people I made fun of a pitcher for wearing them. I'm like, look at this, look at these sensible shoes he's got on, because he had like a goofy looking pair of like New Balance. Everyone's like, Kyle Hendricks wears New Balance. They were all over me. I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm joking. Of course, I know people wear New Balance in majors, but they are still sensible shoes, and I'm not wearing them. Mm-hmm. Like they've actually come out with some that are sort of retro looking, that are cool looking now, I think. But as
they're
far
very
as
much back, like
as far as the mom and dad New Balance shoes, I'm out on those. They have done a better job of like trying to find kind of a retro look for some that are kind of cool. But I've never
get the Nike Monarchs then.
Luke. Yeah, the Air Monarchs. Yeah. Air Monarchs. If Luke wears Air Monarchs to the office, I will go. I will have so much fun with your Air Monarchs, Luke, if you wear them to the office one day. I hope for that day. I say my prayers.
Bill says Air Monarchs and jorts.
Yeah,
there you go.
Did you guys see? By the way, I just saw this tonight. I knew that Sarah Kustok came on the Bulls podcast, and I must have missed her by like 90 seconds. She didn't tell me she was coming in. So
I was still at the office when she was there.
So then she tried to FaceTime me afterwards.
Yeah, I was sitting right there
and tried to explain herself, and I didn't see it until later. And so I gave her some mean text later in the evening. And then I go back today and I hear that she challenged me to a boxing match on the podcast because she likes to train with Kendall Gill, and we did a bit one time. She actually caught Kendall with a jab. And they're like, who would you really like to get in the ring with? And she calls me out.
You got to accept.
Let me tell you something, Sarah Kustok. Stop picking on the elderly, especially the good-looking elderly like me and Kendall Gill. Okay? Leave it at that.
I think you have to accept.
No, I have responded on Twitter that there is zero chance I will be getting in a boxing ring. My athletic days are over. Have you seen her? She's like on the road to fitness.
Yeah.
Like she works out every day. Yeah. I saw her punch a guy who's been boxing his whole life. I'm not
got dad strength.
Sarah Kustok.
Dude have dad strength now. Could you imagine we in the office, in the studio, just move the chairs out of the way, set up a boxing ring in there. We can charge people pay-per-view to, we could charge people to come in here and watch.
It's not happening. It's not happening, Ryan. But I would
chats.
Take a look at my footwork when I come into that Timmy Trumpet, though. Pretty quick feet. Feet.
Slow feet don't eat. Exactly.
Sarah was she had some really good Jordan 1 lows on that day though. I made sure to let her know, and I felt bad. I didn't realize it was her because she's wearing a hat.
Yeah,
and so like I had no idea she was coming in. And
all TV people, that's all we do is just wear hats.
Yeah,
just wear hats from on. Do we fill it? Where are we at? 54 minutes.
Yeah. Do you want to end it with a little bit of like something related to Cubs?
Sure. What do you want to talk about?
I got some
Who's pitching tomorrow?
Pitching tomorrow is Drew Smiley. Smiley, which he had a .90 ERA in August, had a really, really good month. I've already seen people in the chat. It's like I feel more confident about Drew Smiley than I probably would have facing the Cardinals a month ago. Like going into that trade deadline series.
Yeah.
A month later, probably feel more confident in Drew Smiley putting together a good game tomorrow. But I did talk to Tommy Hotovy over the weekend about Adbert Alzolay. So he's pitched 3 times now. He had one with the Complex League. He pitched last Saturday, I want to say, with AAA because the Complex League season ended. And then he pitched again last night. He kind of got lit up a little bit last night. He gave up, 4 runs? I gotta find this. Hold on. I think he gave up like 4 runs or something like that. In an inning in 2/3. So not obviously a great start. He started all 3 games too. So obviously not like best box score wise, but I mean, I think considering how we initially kind of didn't picture a 6-month rehab to then it became like, is he even going to pitch for the Cubs again this season, to like he's pitching in games now. There's a month left in the season. There's potential that he, he stays healthy the next couple of weeks. That he can have an end of the season return, not to prove anything else more than he's at least healthy right now. So there's that. I don't know. I mean, you guys, we talked about it yesterday, but seeing Albert Alzolay finish the season healthy on the Cubs is like one of those things we all wanted to see.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that is something I would.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be a positive for sure. I mean, it's been a tough couple seasons for him. It's not to the Braylon Marquez level, but for a guy that was, I guess, pretty much like the top pitching prospect for sure in the Cubs organization, it just it's been a struggle for him, and it seems like when he can get on the mound, he's pretty good.
He's still like the biggest disappointment of this year for me because he was healthy last year, and I thought he made really good strides as a starter. He got lit up by lefties, but he really dominated righties. And then they put him in the bullpen at the end of the year, and it was I don't really know if it was mainly because of the innings count or if they like him more in the bullpen, whatever it may be. But I felt really good about coming into this year with him as like a number 3 starter. It would have been him, Stroman, and Hendricks coming into the year. I would have felt better about the rotation if he would have been in it, and because he was hurt, the Cubs didn't have a plan to replace him, and that's a big part of why they're at where we're at right now, right? But yeah, like when we get to the very end of the year, I don't think that's going to change. I think he'll still be the biggest disappointment for me, even if he does come back and pitch. Because even if he does come back and pitch and show he's healthy, that's great. But this would have been a great year for him to continue to grow, and whether especially if they were going to use him as a starter, because it just would have been more experience for him going into next year. I'm at a point now where I think they got to just use him in the bullpen. That way he doesn't get hurt again. But the reason he's getting hurt though, it's not even from actually playing. It's from, I don't really quite understand it, to be honest with you, but I don't think it's from it's not from.
Well, playing. His injury that's kept him out was he was throwing a bullpen in mid to late February. Yeah. And then he felt something. And it's kind of like the specific medical thing kind of evolved a little bit. It's like a right shoulder / lat strain, like that whole area right there. That's something similar to what he happened in 2018. He was out for 3 months, 4 months, something like that. So it's kind of a re-aggravation. And I think, Tommy Hotovy kind of pointed the thing out that, when you re-aggravate something, you re-injure something, there's always potential that the timeline could be longer as far as recovery goes, just to make sure you're kind of getting everything right this time. Not saying they didn't get it right last time, but just making sure you're figuring out how to not let it happen again. But to your point with the bullpen, that's where the Cubs kind of see him, at least to end the season. They're not ruling out him being a starter next year and beyond. But if he is to come up this year, which Tommy also said is not guaranteed. He said that if he just ends up finishing out the season in AAA, they would love to bring him up and show that he's fine here on the Cubs, but they also don't want to rush it. So if he ends up just the quote was if he finishes a season in AAA, he'd still be fine in my mind. That's what Tommy kind of said. So bullpen, I think. Bullpen is definitely, if he comes up, where he's going to be at, whether that's, multi-inning, piggyback kind of thing. like controlled piggyback situations, kind of like that. That could be a thing. I don't know that Adbert will certainly be in the bullpen next year, but you kind of look at the splits and you kind of see what happens to him the second or the third time through the order. Like it may be a situation where there's a lot of mouths to feed as far as the rotation goes. A lot of guys battling for spots. And if Adbert ends up being a multi-inning weapon out of the bullpen, I think that's kind of like at this point wouldn't be the worst thing, because he did really well in that role last year when he came back up, or when he was in the IL with the hamstring strain, and all September he was bullpen, and he did well in that role. So I think you can kind of trust him to be that multi-inning guy, which the Cubs don't really have one right now.
Yeah.
If he comes back healthy to spring training next year, have Steele and Thompson 100% passed him up in a shot to be a Cubs starter. You know what I mean? Like in the hierarchy of the Cubs starting rotation of the future, has he been passed by those two guys this season? Because he has shown you some positive stuff, just like those two guys have shown you some stuff. If he's healthy, is he 100% been passed up?
It's hard to say that. It's hard to say just because he didn't pitch this year.
Right.
You know, this is a season where it's Steele and Keegan both took big jumps forward. Who's to say that Adbert didn't or wouldn't have if he was healthy all year? Right. I just think that obviously is a year lost of his own development, and I can't say for certain that they have passed him up, but they've definitely put themselves in a good position to be in the rotation, like probably a better position to be in the rotation next year than Adbert, just because Adbert couldn't, right? And he couldn't prove the other way too. You really haven't figured anything out with Adbert because he hasn't pitched all year, and that's one of the big issues with him having this what's now 6+ month rehab. It's a lost year of figuring out where he fits best into a competitive Cubs team. Whereas again, Steele and Thompson have both taken really good steps, really big jumps forward in their own development. I don't know. That's something spring training is going to have to definitely determine.
I'd say Steele's passed him because he's proven to be durable and he's proven to really just grow throughout the year. I would say that him and
he's also a lefty too.
Yeah, that helps that he's a lefty, right? Yeah. But and then I would say that Thompson and Adbert are around the same trajectory. I think, I still believe that Thompson can be a starter. But I also know how good he is as a multi-inning weapon. So it all just comes down to how the Cubs are going to build this rotation up this offseason for me. Yeah. I think that
who they bring in.
Yeah, I think that Adbert could be a very good spot starter, multi-inning reliever type guy. Do I think he can be in the rotation and give you 30 starts? No, because his injury history is enough for me to say that I can't trust him. And that, again, that's nothing against him. It's just like we always say, best ability is availability, and he just hasn't been. So maybe the best is to put him in a role that you already have a nice amount of people who could do that anyway. So if he does go down, you're not shooting yourself in the foot like they did this year.
Yeah.
Right. So. Good spot to wrap it, I think. Cubs lose 8-0 to the Cardinal. We have Labor Day weekend. So you have a series recap coming from Brendan and Corey. We are off on Monday for Labor Day, so we will not have a podcast on Monday. We will be back on Tuesday podcasting the Cubs. And so hopefully everybody has a good holiday weekend. Pools are open one more weekend. Hopefully the weather's nice. Everybody has a safe holiday weekend. We'll get back at this coming up Tuesday. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show podcast presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Have a great weekend. Dab your way into it.